Good evening, everyone. Is my audio and video clear? Please let me know in the comment section. Good evening, Manish. Good evening, Foster. Hi, Nihal. Okay. Okay. So a very good evening to everyone who's watching this video. I am Manat Sharma from Oliveboard and I'm here with this very important report, which is your World Economic Outlook. Now, this report is of the IMF and there is a very high chance that you might get a question from this in your exam. That is why we have to cover this report comprehensively. Each and everything, whatever has been mentioned in this report, we are going to cover it in detail. We have also seen, some clippets in your newspaper. So in the morning at 8 a.m., I had taken up a class of the live mint analysis. I had taken up the live mint analysis. Therein also we had talked about certain projections related to IMF, what IMF had projected for the global economy and for India specifically. So this report is very important from your exam point of view. So please do this very carefully. And if you want to download this YouTube class PDF, because here I've tried to, comprehensively bring in the entire thing in the simplest language possible. So you can download this YouTube PDF from the Oliveboard app. Go download the Oliveboard app. From there, there's going to be this courses section. Wahan pe there's going to be a separate folder of YouTube class PDF, so you can access it from there. Good evening, Mukund. Very good evening to you. Fine. So let's begin with this. So World Economic Outlook report. This is a biennial report. Biennial means it is, twice a year it is presented. Okay. Fine. So global growth is expected to decline according to this report, and downside risks are likely to intensify as major policy shifts unfold. So this is just basically where we are starting. So who releases this report? The International Monetary Fund. It is released twice a year. We have the World Economic Outlook report. Okay. Now this is a detailed report, and usually in April and in October it is released. So from your exam point of view, especially from your prelims point of view, your first phase, this World Economic Outlook of April edition becomes very important. Okay, and there are apart from this, there are certain shorter updates also which are published in January and July. Okay, that is also important. Now we need to know that we have this World Economic Outlook report. It provides certain forecasts and estimates related to what? ये फोरकास्ट किस चीज के बारे में करता है, एस्टिमेट किस चीज के बारे में करता है, दैट इज व्हाट दे आर सेइंग ओवर हियर. क्या है? ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक आउटपुट एंड इन्फ्लेशन. सो ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक आउटपुट क्या रहेगी, इन्फ्लेशन क्या रहेगी, रियल जीडीपी ग्रोथ किस तरह से रहेगी, कंट्री वाइज रीजन वाइज भी, एंड ग्लोबल लेवल पे भी दिस रिपोर्ट ब्रिंग्स इन important figures. Consumer price levels, unemployment rates, current account balances, we get to know about all these things. ठीक है? Good evening, Tarun. Yes, Tarun, I do have a Telegram channel. No, I don't upload the PDFs over there, but you can access these PDFs from this Oliveboard app only. Okay, but otherwise I do have a Telegram group. You can join it. The name of my group is Economics with Mannat. Just type Mannat Educator and you will have access to my group. Okay, Mannat Educator. Fine. Atithi, you're asking global economic outlook and world economic outlook. No. There is only this one report. There is only this one report, which is a world economic outlook. There's nothing as global economic outlook. It's world economic outlook only, Atithi. Fine? Fine, Atithi? What are you asking, Costa? CAB? What are you asking? Current account balance. Are you asking about that? See, current account balances is when you study about balance of payments. What is balance of payments? Balance of payments records the transactions of one country with the rest of the world. So our country, for example, India, if it is trading with US, if it is having transactions with US or any other foreign country, then we record it in balance of payments. There are certain accounts under BOP. One is your current account. Second is your capital account. Okay, apart from that, we have foreign exchange reserves, we have errors and omissions. Okay, so you can do that in detail, but current account over here is related to your goods and services basically. Import and export of goods and services. Okay, capital account is related to investments and all assets and liabilities related. That is capital account. Okay, foreign exchange reserves, you already know it's the currency. So basically, current account balances your goods and services, import and export of goods and services. That balance is maintained under this. Fine, Kaustav, is that clear? Baki, you can do this thing in detail. You can connect with me. I will send you some information related to this. Fine. Okay, so there are 190 IMF member countries and the indicators are analyzed for all these member countries. Okay, 190 IMF member countries and indicators are analyzed for all these countries. And they are classified by geographic region, and their development status is also taken into account. And in this outlook report, we have many dedicated chapters, okay, which is which talks about emerging economic issues and all as well. Okay, let's read it one by one. Let's read what this report entails. Okay, fine. So global economy, what they're saying is global economy has appeared to be stabilized, but with steady yet underwhelming growth rates. So we are not sure that the growth rates are going to be, as of now it is steady. Governments around the world reorder policy priorities and uncertainties have also increased. ठीक है, forecast जो है global growth के, that also have been revised down. So we have reduced the forecast. We are going to see in the next few slides how Tarun, Oliveboard app is not working on iOS. I'll get it checked. You can join my Telegram group, okay, and I will connect with you over there. Fine. I will talk to sir. Let's see if it is working on iOS or not, and I will let you know. Fine. If in case it is not working, then I will provide the PDF. Don't worry. ठीक है? Fine. So growth rates have been revised down compared to with the January 2025 World Economic Outlook update. So I told you that short updates are available in January and July as well, right? So in that, from that update, we have revised our growth rates down. Okay. Global headline inflation is also expected to decline at a slightly lower pace than what was expected in January. Okay. What else has been mentioned here? That there are downside risks because of what? Trade tensions. We have seen US China trade war. We can see the tariffs that have been levied by US, though they're at a 90-day pause as of now, but still there is always an uncertainty, right? 6.5 to 6.2. Good evening, Ayush. Right. है ना? Then these policy positions are also deteriorating the sentiment, and there could be global financial conditions that they might tighten. That is what they are saying. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे क्या बोल रहे हैं? ट्रेड टेंशंस है, फाइनेंशियल मार्केट एडजस्टमेंट्स की जरूरत है, ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल कंडीशंस है वो डिटीरियोरेट हो रहे हैं. दैट इज व्हाट दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. ठीक है, ट्रेड वॉर का हम देख सकते हैं प्रॉब्लम, ट्रेड पॉलिसी अनसर्टेनिटी बहुत ज्यादा है, तो लॉन्ग टर्म और शॉर्ट टर्म की जो ग्रोथ है उसके ऊपर हम एक नेगेटिव इम्पैक्ट देख सकते हैं. ठीक है, नाउ इफ यू कैन सी दिस पिक्चर ओवर हियर, दीज आर ग्रोथ प्रोजेक्शंस बाय रीजन स्पेसिफिक. So we talk about United States for 2025, they have reduced it from 2.8 to 1.8 and to 1.7 for 26. For Euro area, 0.9 to 1.2, they have shown a slight increase. In 2025, they have shown a decrease to 0.8, but an increase for financial year 26. Then again, for the Middle East and Central Asia, they have shown an increase from 2.4 to 3 to 3.5. For emerging and developing countries, they also reduced from 5.3 to 4.5. Latin America, it's around 2, 2.4. Sub-Saharan Africa around 3 to 4. So you can see this data in this picture. And for world, they have reduced the forecast from 3.3 to 2.8 for financial year 25. So this figure is most important. From 3.3 to 2.8, they have revised it for this year. Okay, fine. Then countries, what has this report said, that these countries should work to promote stable and predictable trade environment. They should focus on international cooperation. They need to focus on policy gaps. They need to focus on structural imbalances at home. ठीक है, तो ये एक solution provide किया गया है by this report, and this is going to help both internal and external economic stability. If you go with these things, this is going to really help in internal stability as well and external stability as well, and to stimulate growth and ease fiscal pressures, healthy aging, enhance labor force participation among older individuals. You're right. For these things also, this report talks about this. We are going to see one by one these things as well. Okay, let's see one by one what has been mentioned in the report. Okay, so there are certain chapters in this World Economic Outlook report. We are going to study these chapters one by one, what has been mentioned. Okay, now first is your first chapter is related to your global prospects and policies. Then what is the global scenario basically? Okay, so they are saying that global economy is at a critical juncture. That means this was for 2024, it was stabilized, but in 2025, we see that there are escalating tensions. Escalating tensions. For 2025, growth is projected at 2.8%. So from 3.3 to 2.8%, they have revised down the target. Inflation has cooled, but it is still uneven. Global trade policy uncertainty is highly, we can see that there is global trade policy uncertainty as well. ठीक है, so you can take a look at these global inflation trends. You can see headline inflation, it is kind of becoming stable, but there is still, it is very uneven. Core inflation also, you can see that it is also very uneven. Unemployment rates, vacancy to unemployment ratios, we are going to read about this. Let's see one by one what is mentioned in those graphs. Okay, if we talk about trade and policy uncertainty, then there are certain retaliatory measures which have been taken by China, Canada, and others, which has resulted in equity market corrections. That means the stock market, we saw that the stock market is crashing, not only in India, but we saw it crashing in the US as well, right? Then daily trade policy uncertainty index also surged. So what about this daily trade policy uncertainty indexes? It measures the uncertainty on a daily basis. Okay, so what they are saying is that this has also surged. So higher this index, higher the uncertainty. Okay, if we talk about the regional growth trends, then in United States, it is expected to slow to 1.8%. So पहले कितना था 2.8, now it might slow to 1.8%. Euro area में 0.8% growth is expected. It is a slow recovery. Germany remains weak. Spain shows relative strength. So it is very uneven in the euro area also. For China also, they have revised the growth down to 4%. For India, it has been projected at 6.2%. So initially they had projected it 6.5%. Now they have reduced it to 6.2%. We have seen this region specific as well. If we talk about the labor and productivity trends, then labor markets normalized in many economies, but productivity growth slowed. So we can see that there is low productivity in the labor market. Okay, if we talk about structural and energy shocks, then there are because of this, Ukraine war, this had long-term effects on European economies. Okay, so because of these wars and all, there are certain shocks on the energy side as well. Okay, then fiscal and monetary constraints की we talk about this, then policy space is narrowing. That means बहुत ज़्यादा high debt levels हो रहे हैं. ठीक है, इसलिए हम fiscal stimulus नहीं लेके आ पा रहे हैं. Why? Because debt levels are high and inflation expectations exceeding the targets. Central banks may face challenges in this case. So fiscal and monetary policy में भी हम challenges देख रहे हैं because of inflation and because of high debt levels at the global level. This is at the global level. ठीक है. ग्लोबल इम्बैलेंसेस बहुत है क्योंकि यूएस बहुत ज्यादा यूएस इज सफरिंग फ्रॉम लार्ज डेफिसिट्स एंड चाइना हैज वीक डिमांड. सो चाइना, दीज आर मेजर इकोनॉमीज. अगर यहाँ पे इतनी प्रॉब्लम आई so it is going to really impact the overall economy. And FDI flows are also concentrating in the US. ठीक है. Then if we talk about the reference forecast for this year, global level पे for 2025 it's 2.8% and for 26 3%. ठीक है. If we see pre-April to before 2nd April forecast, then it was 3.2% and post April 9 scenario growth 2.8%. So you can see that this is all because of these tariffs and all, right? Because of these escalating trade war that we are seeing. ठीक है. Then commodity and inflation outlook, if we see at the global level, again I'm reminding you this is all at the global level. Oil prices are expected to decline by 15.5%. The reasons, if you are following my live mint analysis, then you know the reasons. What are the reasons? OPEC plus, what is happening in this cartel, you know about it, right? Inflation will ease gradually, but inflation expectations are above the central bank targets. Okay, now look over here. This paragraph over here mentioned that the productivity growth discrepancies have a counterpart. So what they are saying is that manufacturing activity जो है, it is shifting from advanced economies to emerging market economies. So manufacturing activity is shifting from say these advanced economies like US to emerging market. Yes, exactly, Aditi. OPEC plus 3 times production due to Kazakhstan. Exactly. Very good, Aditi. You remember. Okay. For those of you who do not remember, I will just briefly tell you that OPEC plus is a cartel. These are the group of oil producing countries. Okay. Now what happened is Kazakhstan had been violating, it was producing beyond the levels that had been decided by the cartel, because of which the cartel was facing a lot of issue. So OPEC in retaliation also increased its supply, and because of this excess supply the prices of oil started reducing. This is the reason. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे क्या बोल रहे हैं? ठीक है, so I hope you understood what we are saying over here. ठीक है, oil prices are expected to decline. I hope this is clear. ठीक है, so यहाँ पे what they are saying is manufacturing activity is shifting from advanced to emerging market economies. Industrial production has plunged after pandemic. Production लेकिन बढ़ गई है in China and it has expanded in smaller EU economies and also the ASEAN 5, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore and Thailand. ठीक है, but it has struggled to get back to pre-pandemic levels, especially in Japan and large EU countries. So यहाँ पे what they are saying, the crux is that manufacturing units are shifting to the emerging market economies. ठीक है. Then if we talk about the risks and recommendations provided in the report, these downside risks, they dominate trade war escalation, geopolitical shocks, weak sentiment we can see. And what is the recommendation? That we need to focus on international cooperation, we need to enhance labor force participation, we need to improve productivity through integration of migrants and reskilling efforts. ठीक है? Gaurav, I am wearing a mic. Okay, but I will look into it. Fine. Okay, Mukund. Okay. Anyway, but you might have seen that news in Economic Times as well. Newspaper, every newspaper covers everything, right? So I hope you had covered it. ठीक है, चलिए. Okay, so first chapter we have completed. First chapter was related to your global prospects and policies. ठीक है. The second chapter is related to the risk of silver economy, global implications of population aging. So we are talking about silver economy here. Silver economy is related to your, you can say the old age people. ठीक है, how old age people are contributing to an economy, that is what is called silver economy. ठीक है, I hope this is clear. Fine. Now this global population, what they are saying is, they are talking about this global demographic transition. ठीक है, so who's going to tell me what is demographic transition? Have you heard about demographic transition theories? Theories of demographic transition? Anyone? 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 What do you mean by demographic transition? Manish is saying change in birth and death rates. Very good. Mukund says it is the growing age of the working population. When you say, when you use the word that there is a demographic shift, when you use the word demographic dividend, demographic shift, then you can say that it is called the working age population is reducing. When we talk about demographic transition, it means how we are moving from high birth rate and death rate to lower birth rate and death rate. So it analyzes the transition of economies from a developing or an underdeveloped economy to a developed economy. ठीक है. So this also analyzes the population growth, how the population is growing, what kind of population is growing, do we have the young more or do we have the old age more. So over a period of time, through these birth rates and death rates, we analyze that what kind of population growth is there. ठीक है. Okay. So this global demographic transition, this global population growth will decline to nearly zero by 2080 or 2100. So by end of this century, they are saying that population growth will start decline. It will be zero. Population growth will be zero. That means birth rate will be equal to death rate. Number of people born will be equal to number of people who are dying. That is what this has been predicted, that by the year 2100, this population growth will be zero. The average global age will increase by 11 years from 2020 to 2100. And the people who are above 65, they are going to increase. Especially in advanced and emerging economies, the people who are above 65 years of age, they are going to increase. By 2035, all advanced and largest emerging markets, they will cross their demographic turning point where working age population starts to decline. So demographic turning point क्या है? When your working age population will start declining, right? There are many countries where it has started declining also, right? ठीक है, right? Then they also talk about the healthy aging trends, that if people are aging healthy, if they are healthy and then they are aging, then how it is going to benefit. ठीक है. Life expectancy increased by 4.5 years globally. So they are saying that life expectancy has increased by 4.5 years. Healthy life expectancy has also improved. That means years without chronic illness. So healthy life expectancy means wherein there's no chronic illness. Chronic illness means long term illness. ठीक है. And if you see these individuals who are born in recent cohorts, they have shown improved physical and cognitive abilities at lower ages, at older ages, sorry. ठीक है. Healthy aging has increased the labor force participation by 20 percentage points. So labor force participation, because of healthy aging, people can work more because they are aging, in a healthy manner. They can work more. So labor force participation has increased. Average weekly working hours have also increased by 6 hours. Labor earnings have also increased by approximately 30%. So it's very important to remain healthy while you age. ठीक है. And despite healthy aging, despite this healthy aging, the global output growth is projected to slow by 1.1 percentage points, and there are many reasons for it. We've already seen the reasons: trade war, trade escalations, tariffs, and all, right. Aging will cause a downward pressure on interest rates, but widen interest growth differentials. Why? Because what happens is when you start aging, you save and invest less basically. That is why it is going to put a downward pressure on the interest rates. Fine. Then higher primary balances will be required post 2030 to stabilize debt in many countries. What do you mean by primary balances? What do you mean by primary balances? Anyone? Yes, Costa, that is why we all need to focus on healthy eating, right? So that we can also age, in a healthy manner. What do you mean by primary balances? Primary balances are basically how much revenue you are earning, right? Not your, you're not including your loans and interest payments, but your revenue and expenditure, excluding your interest payments and all. That is your primary balance. Fine. Excluding interest payments on debt, government borrowing and lending. Exactly, the net value. So actually what you are earning from your taxes and all, that we're not talking about loans and all over here. We're not talking about debt, government borrowing and all in this case. Okay. So what they're saying is we need higher primary balance so that we can stabilize debt in many countries, including major economies like China, US, Japan. Yes, Mukund, very good. That is what this means. Okay. Then if we talk about cross-country disparities, then cognitive and physical aging varies by country, income, education, and urban rural locations. So what they are saying is that whose cognitive ability is high, whose physical aging is better or not. It depends on country to country, the income levels of people, the education, urban rural location, and all. ठीक है. Socioeconomic inequalities in health, they also persist, across age, gender and region. So for example, low income and rural populations, they have worse health. This is obvious. So if you are a low income country or a low income person, then your health is going to be poor as compared to someone who has a higher income. Yes, Madhu, exactly, very good. ठीक है. Then if we talk about labor market implications, then healthier older individuals, they work more also, they work longer also, and their retirement can also be delayed, because of which there can be increased labor force participation. Retirement age can be later on. Cognitive gains. Cognitive is basically your brain, related to your brain, dimag. ठीक है. Then cognitive, what they have seen is that these cognitive gains, यानी कि आपका दिमाग ज्यादा कब चलता है, wherein your job is physically less demanding. ठीक है. Then if we talk about model based projections, अगर हम projections की बात करें, then global annual GDP growth will fall by 1.1 percentage points as compared to 2016 to 18. China 2.7 percentage points say it is going to slow down. India 0.7 percentage points say it is going to slow down. Aging investment needs, I told you that whenever you age more, you stop investing. Investment कम हो जाती है. ठीक है. Then low income countries to initially attract capital, then reverse trend by 2070 के बाद तक जो capital है वो reverse होने लगेगा. ठीक है. ठीक है. Mukund, you just have to have a fair idea. Like majorly the growth projections are going to be important. जैसे growth projections हो गया, ये सब चीजें तो बहुत basic सी हैं. इसमें बहुत detail वाला याद करने वाला कुछ है नहीं है. This is the basic that because of healthy aging, it is leading to increase in labor force participation rate. Basically रिपोर्ट वैसे तो मेजर डेटा तो यही हो गया. ग्रोथ प्रोजेक्शन, जीडीपी की ग्रोथ प्रोजेक्शंस क्या रहेंगी, इन्फ्लेशन का सिनेरियो क्या रहेगा, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट का सिनेरियो क्या रहेगा. बट दीज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स जो एक्स्ट्रा से पॉइंट्स होते हैं ना, दिस इज वेरी हेल्पफुल फॉर योर डिस्क्रिप्टिव आंसर राइटिंग. अगर उसमें आ गया फिर आप क्या क्या लिखेंगे, है ना. तो थोड़ा थोड़ा आपको आइडिया होना चाहिए. वी हैव टू डिस्कस इट इन डिटेल. व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इट, आपने चैप्टर वाइज बेसिक छोटी छोटी समरी बनानी है. ठीक है. यू हैव टू मेक शॉर्ट नोट्स ताकि आप उसे रिवाइज कर सकें. सब कुछ तो ऑब्वियसली अब आई हैव टू एक्सप्लेन यू, आई एम गोइंग टू ट्राई एंड एक्सप्लेन यू एवरीथिंग, ताकि कहीं पे कुछ रह ना जाए. ठीक है. ठीक है. ओके मुकुंद. Fine. Advanced economies will draw down assets. China and India will accumulate more. So यहाँ पे that is what they are saying. यहाँ पे they are saying that healthy aging contributes 0.4 percentage points to global GDP growth. ठीक है? Then what are the policy options that are provided in this? So what happens is whenever they provide any chapter जहाँ पे they are discussing about something, ठीक है? Whenever they're discussing about something, at the end they also give certain policy implications as well. ठीक है? Yes, Kaustav, you're right. Obviously, this when as your labor force participation increases, that means more people are working. This will lead to increased incomes, right? This will lead to increased incomes. Okay, and overall your GDP also increases because what is GDP? Increase in national income. Fine. That's great, Mukund. Continue this effort. Keep on making short notes. Only then you'll be able to revise, right? Okay. I hope I've cleared your doubt, Kaustav. Okay, so what are the policy options that are provided? Healthy aging policies. They can add 0.2% to global GDP growth. Raising effective retirement age. You need to raise their retirement age. Bring in certain policies for healthy aging. Increase the retirement age. Then closing gender labor participation gaps. Allow women also to get into the labor force, labor market. Okay? Then combined effect of all three policies will add 0.6% growth. Okay, so that is how, if we focus on the old age people, if we focus on their improvement and on their healthy living, then it can really add to the GDP. Okay, and if we see the fiscal implications, that it is going to generate 4% plus of GDP, especially in like Greece, Italy. Allow for tax cuts, higher transfers, debt reduction. That is going to help out. Focus on public health care and pension burden. Okay, so why these things are important? Because whenever you get an answer, whenever you write descriptive answers, these points can be utilized by you. See, you can quote that according to IMF, if you do this, then you can add more to the GDP, right? Such kind of questions can be asked. Then invest in health promotion and prevention schemes, adapt workplace practices, combat age discrimination, promote upskilling, reskilling of the people so that they can still be relevant to the job market. Yes, Kaustav, it's enough. Okay, close gender gaps with childcare, flexible work, parental leave, enhance international financial market access, prepare for AI and automation. These are the basic, even you can write down these policy recommendations, right? Okay, so chapter 2 was related to your old age people. Chapter 1 related to your global prospects. Then we have chapter 3 which talks about migration and refugee policy. So it talks about migrants, people who are moving from one place to the other. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे what they are saying is as of 2024 there were 304 million legal migrants and refugees. ठीक है, कितने? 304 million. ठीक है, 304 million legal migrants and refugees, and they are nearly double since 1995. 75% of refugees, 40% of migrants, they are basically in the emerging market and developing economy. So 75% of refugees, 40% of migrants. So you can see that maximum they are living in these emerging market and developing economies. Okay, so migration ke liye there are two kinds of factors. One is your push factor and the other is your pull factor. So when we talk about push factors, it means that what are those factors which are pushing you out of a nation? Say that is a war-torn area, there's a lot of problem, there is inflation, there is unemployment in the economy, so you tend to move out of that area. And pull factors are those factors which attract you, that you are coming into the economy. For example, you move to advanced economies. Why? Because to avail certain opportunities. So those are called pull factors. Okay, so that is what has been mentioned over here. Then tighter policies in one region can deflect these migrants, refugees to other destinations. Now what happens is that some countries, they have strict regulations, right? Strict regulations on entry of migrants. They try to reduce these migrants, right? So what they are saying is that these tighter policies that these countries have, or this, if one region has tighter policies, it can deflect migrants and refugees to other destinations as well. So there can be 20% reduction in inflows in one group of economies. If there is a 20% reduction, say in one region, there is 20% reduction in inflows of these migrants. This is going to increase inflows somewhere else by 10% over 5 years. तो ये टारगेट बनाया कि अगर बाय चांस फॉर एग्जांपल इंडिया है, ठीक है, और एक मान लीजिए यूके है, यूएस है या यूके है, कोई और कंट्री है, तो अगर इंडिया में 20% से कम हो जाते हैं माइग्रेंट्स, तो कहीं और अगर वो शिफ्ट होके जाएंगे तो 10% कहीं और पे बढ़ जाएगा. इस तरह से डिफ्लेक्शन यहाँ पे एक परसेंटेज शो की गई है. ठीक है. देन reduced migrant inflows may be replaced by 25 to 30% more refugee inflows. So migration can be, what you can say, migration legally कर सकते हैं, लेकिन refugees क्या है, वो तो फिर इलीगल हो गया या फिर किसी असाइलम के लिए रहने आ गए. सो वो चीज रहेगी, कोई हमें रखना नहीं चाहता है. टाइटर पॉलिसीज करोगे तो कोई हमें रखना नहीं चाहेगा, तो हमें कहीं और जाना पड़ेगा, तो वी बिकम रेफ्यूजीज. ठीक है, ये रहेगा. Then there is this concept of origin substitution and origin suppression that can also occur. We need to understand the meaning of origin substitution and origin suppression. ठीक है, तो origin substitution क्या है? Other countries fill gaps left by restricted origin nations. इसका क्या मतलब है कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल देर इज कंट्री ए, देर इज कंट्री बी. ए ने रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर दिया रेफ्यूजीज आना हमारी कंट्री में, तो ये डिफ्लेक्ट ओके किसके पास गए? बी. अब बी बेचारे क्या करे? बी को रखना ही पड़ते हैं इन रेफ्यूजीज को, यानी कि कुछ कंट्रीज फिल करती हैं गैप्स जो ऐसी कंट्रीज छोड़ देती हैं बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रिस्ट्रिक्टेड, बिकॉज ऑफ दिस टाइट पॉलिसीज. ठीक है. एंड ओरिजिन सप्रेशन इज सम माइग्रेंट्स दे डिसाइड कि अच्छा वो माइग्रेट ही नहीं करेंगे यार, छोड़ो, हम पता चले माइग्रेशन के चक्कर में वी बिकम रेफ्यूजीज कहीं पे. ठीक है, दैट इज व्हाट दे आर सेइंग. So you can see here, you can see this diagram, you can read कि यहाँ पे कहाँ कहाँ से, अगर सपोज यूरोप है, ठीक है, वो कहाँ कहाँ पे जा रहे हैं माइग्रेट होके, जैसे यूरोप जा रहे हैं. इमर्जिंग मार्केट ये है एडवांस्ड इकोनॉमीज, एडवांस्ड इकोनॉमीज से इमर्ज होके कहाँ जा रहे हैं? इमर्जिंग मार्केट इकोनॉमीज में जा रहे हैं. और कहाँ जा रहे हैं? कनाडा, यूएस में जा रहे हैं. और कहाँ जा रहे हैं? दिस इमर्जिंग मार्केट डेवलपिंग इकोनॉमीज के पास जा रहे हैं, एशिया जा रहे हैं. ऐसे ऐसे करके यू कैन सी कि कहाँ कहाँ पे रीजन वाइज कहाँ से माइग्रेशन हो रही है और वो कहाँ पर जा रहे हैं. ठीक है, नॉट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ठीक है, बहुत ज्यादा देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. दिस वाज जस्ट देयर, सो आई जस्ट एडेड इट ओवर हियर. ठीक है. देन वी हैव इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट्स ऑफ माइग्रेंट्स. अब क्या है कि माइग्रेंट्स यूजुअली पॉजिटिवली ही इम्पैक्ट करते हैं. लेबर प्रोडक्टिविटी इंक्रीजेस, आउटपुट इंक्रीजेस. ठीक है. जो रेफ्यूजीज है, माइग्रेंट्स, तो दे यूजुअली पॉजिटिवली इम्पैक्टिंग लेबर प्रोडक्टिविटी एंड आउटपुट ऑल्सो. ठीक है. रेफ्यूजीज क्या है? दे फेस बैरियर्स, इंटीग्रेशन बैरियर्स, क्योंकि कोई उन्हें पसंद नहीं करता. रेफ्यूजी है तो उनको ऐसे ऐसे दूर दूर ही रखते हैं. दैट दे आर रेफ्यूजीज, वी ट्राई टू डिस्क्रिमिनेट अगेंस्ट देम. ठीक है. देन कंजेशन इफेक्ट्स फ्रॉम सडन इनफ्लोज. कंजेशन इफेक्ट्स बहुत ज्यादा हो सकते हैं, बहुत ज्यादा बर्डन हो सकता है, कंजेशन हो सकती है उस एरिया में जहां पे भी ये माइग्रेट कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. देन अगर बहुत अच्छे तरीके से हमने माइग्रेंट्स और रेफ्यूजीज को अच्छे तरीके से हमने संभाला है, इट कैन रियली ईज इन्फ्लेशन. जो लेबर डिमांड है उसको भी मीट कर सकते हैं, फिजिकली भी कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं. दे कैन रियली हेल्प आउट द नेशन अगर हम अच्छे से मैनेज करें अपने माइग्रेंट्स को, अपने रेफ्यूजीज को. ठीक है. एंड पॉलिसी टाइटनिंग हैज शॉर्ट टर्म आउटपुट कॉस्ट एंड लॉन्ग टर्म प्रोडक्टिविटी लॉसेस. तो अगर हम पॉलिसीज कुछ ऐसी लेकर आते हैं जिससे हम टाइट रूल्स लेकर आ रहे हैं, दैट पीपल कैन नॉट माइग्रेट टू आवर कंट्री, तो उससे क्या है, प्रोडक्टिविटी लॉसेस भी देखने को मिले हैं. फाइन. ठीक है. देन 20% पॉलिसी इंड्यूस्ड रिडक्शन इन माइग्रेशन. सो अगर आप पॉलिसीज लेकर आते हो, माइग्रेशन कम करते हैं, उससे जीडीपी कम होती है बाय अप्रोक्सीमेटली 0.07%. ठीक है. तो यहाँ पे ये लिखा है, थोड़ा सा डेटा दिया है, यू डोंट नीड टू रिमेंबर दिस. थोड़ा ऑब्वियसली थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो जाएगा, थोड़ा थोड़ा आप इसके बारे में देख लीजिएगा. ठीक है. ठीक. इंटरनेशनल कोऑर्डिनेशन, अगर हम इंटरनेशनली कोऑर्डिनेट करें, इससे कंजेशन भी कम होगी और लॉन्ग टर्म गेन्स भी, उसका भी हमें फायदा होगा. ठीक है. And if migrants and refugees are younger, then 78% are of working age. They are saying that these migrants and refugees mostly they are of working age population. ठीक है. And if we if we really utilize this population, that they can really help us in increasing the GDP of the country and improving the economic situation of a country. ठीक है. Then if we talk about your natural disasters and conflict, कि कैसे नेचुरल डिजास्टर्स की वजह से या फिर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स की वजह से माइग्रेंट्स बढ़ रहे हैं. ठीक है. So if we see, as of May 2024, 123 million people have been forcibly displaced because of wars or conflict or natural disasters. ठीक है. And 2/3 of refugees are hosted in neighboring emerging market developing economies. For example, म्यांमार में प्रॉब्लम हो गई, इंडिया आ गए, बांग्लादेश चले गए, बांग्लादेश में प्रॉब्लम हो गई, इंडिया आ गए. तो नेबरिंग जो इमर्जिंग मार्केट इकोनॉमीज होंगी, डेवलपिंग इकोनॉमीज होगी, वहां पे वो रेफ्यूजीज चले जाते हैं. ठीक है. Then natural disasters are also increasing because of climate change, and that is also a major factor for cross border displacement. 4 countries, Afghanistan, Syria, Ukraine, Venezuela, they are major sources of refugees. यहाँ से बहुत ज्यादा refugees आते हैं. ठीक है. So what are the policy recommendations? हाँ, nowadays in USA also. What are the policy recommendations that have been offered? End में I told you that हर chapter के बाद policy recommendations भी दिए गए हैं. So what they are saying is integrate migrants and refugees into formal labor markets. क्या फिर migrants ये तो आ ही गए हैं, migrants तो आ ही गए हैं, refugees भी बन गए हैं. क्यों ना हम इनको अच्छे से यूटिलाइज करें और इनको लेबर मार्केट, फॉर्मल लेबर मार्केट पे लेकर आए. ठीक है. ठीक है. Then we need to recognize their qualifications. What if they have good amount of qualifications? We need to focus on language training. We need to streamline their legal status so that we can utilize them in the labor markets. We need to focus on public investment in infrastructure, education, healthcare. Fine. We need to promote private sector development. We need to absorb this labor. We need to coordinate globally as well. ठीक है. These are the policy recommendations. ठीक है. So this was all related to your World Economic Outlook report. I hope you have understood. So I just brought this because you need to have at least a basic idea कि इस report में क्या लिखा गया है, क्या हमने इसमें बात की थी. This thing is also going to be very important कि वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक आउटलुक रिपोर्ट कब कौन एस्टैब्लिश करता है, कितनी बार आती है, इसमें किसके बारे में बात करते हैं. All these things are going to be important. Chapters में just go through the main points, just see what are the main points. ठीक है. And write down, make your own notes फटाफट से, that you can revise. ठीक है. So I have tried to make it very crisp, simple. इसमें से भी you can short it, you can make it short and you can read about this. ठीक है. So I hope this is clear. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Otherwise, we are going to end the session here. You're welcome, Sheikh. You're welcome. I hope these things are clear. And if all of you want to connect with me beyond these live sessions, you can connect with me through my Telegram group. Just type Mannat Educator. Fine. So you can connect with me over there. Fine. You're welcome, Kaustav. So just download this PDF from the Oliveboard app and revise it again and again. Just keep revising it so that you can remember it from your till your exam. Fine. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'm going to end the session over here. Thank you so much for staying put. Thank you so much for attending the lecture, and keep studying. I will keep bringing such informative lectures for all of you. Okay, we have the RBI bulletin also for this month, for April. That also I will be taking. Fine, in 1 or 2 days, I will be taking that class as well. Okay. Alright then. Thank you so much. Take care. Good night to all of you. See you in my next class.